I don't like. I got a few tricks up my sleeve. I got some more cool shit coming. I'll tell you about.
Oh, you may well do. Everybody does. But,
yeah. No. I have more than most. I'm the founder of a $50 billion cryptocurrency. I have more than most.
Yeah, you can brag about that. I mean, that's fine.
So this idea that you can make absolutely insane, amazing changes in the world by just turning the right screws, but knowing where those screws are, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So it gets framed like, you made too much money for too little work. But in fact, it's the opposite. Making a lot of money with little work means you have little overhead, which means you have little negative price externality. Look at Zcash. Zcash price is doomed and has been doomed for years. Why? Because they got a building of 80 guys doing something. I still prefer maximally effective on-ramping. I still don't like ads that don't work. And most ads do not work. I don't think billboards work. I don't think sports advertising works. I don't think race cars work. I got some other tricks I ain't gonna tell you about. I'm gonna let them shoot themselves in the foot first so they can't counteract the counterplay. But I see things going wrong in the news so much, it makes me want to grit my teeth. You must have no expectation of profit from the work of others. I'm just telling you what I see on chain. So it seems like whatever may control the sacrifice keys is a fiat stablecoin maximalist, except for Hex. It has a lot of Hex, it has a lot of stablecoin.
Everybody, and welcome back. Man, oh man, oh man, crypto blood on the streets, yeah, boy. Well, we've been talking about it for weeks and weeks and weeks about volatility during this period, and it's delivered, hasn't it? It's delivered. So there we go. Is this the final shakeout happening in the next couple of weeks before we get the big move? We're going to be looking at tons of charts today, so I hope you guys enjoy it, and they're very insightful. So hold on to your hat for that. It's going to be pretty cool. We're going to be talking about Richard Hart and Pulsechain, of course. We're also going to get into TitanX ecosystem and look set to absolutely crush it despite the volatility and the downturn in the prices at the moment. TitanX ecosystem with all its protocols really is starting to look absolutely spectacular. Something that we discuss in our strategy club. So get into our strategy club today, $35 a month, multi-chain opportunities. And we're trying to pick off the real best ones during this bull market. The link's in the video description for that. Join up today. Maybe even Wookie, if he's in the house, you might have his link there as well. $35 a month, great value for that. So get in there, folks. We got Live Beneath in the house. How are you today? Very, very good. We got Hex, Pulse Hex incentive for the win, 100%. That is the maxi strategy of this channel. Although we look at multi-chain opportunities because bull markets, they come around for a short period of time, and you've got to make the most out of them while they're here. And of course, we're expecting Bitcoin to raise to 100K this year, potentially by October to December. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. We got Brennan in the house here. Howdy, sweet man and fam. And speaking of TA Guru, the Brennan's in the house. Brennan says Bitcoin retesting 200 EMA. That's the exponential moving average on daily. If we close above, could be positive for reversal. Indeed. We're going to be talking about potentially lower levels, but yeah, that 200 day pretty important for a potential reversal there. All right, let's get into it. Who else is in the house? We got Sean Salam. Hello from New York City. Hey, big shout out to you and the Big Apple. Great to have you in the chat. That's for sure. All right, shall we move on? Let's get into it. We've got a big show today, man. Big show. So we're going to get into it and cover up some stuff there. Let's go for that. All right. Let me just share my screen here. And make sure I'm on the right tab here as well. Let's share the screen. And we're going to kick it off with the stock market, of course. So stock market is, of course, Tuesday's results. Stock market today, Dow clinches record close. So move into all the manufacturing companies there, the cyclicals, as they say, as focus shifts to NVIDIA earnings in the tech. So that's kind of the touch there. And we can see actually all the markets in the stock market close green. So the Dow Jones is just up slightly, but up 10 points to 41,250. S&P is up 9 points to 5,625. And then, of course, the NASDAQ, they're up similar amount in terms of percentage, around 0.17%, but 30 points to 17,755. That's all the tech companies in it. So that is pretty green for the stock market, but it didn't play out in the crypto market. And, of course, the US dollar there is sitting just above 100, 105 on the index. that has been devaluing, right, since it was up at like 104, 105. That's very interesting. Of course, that boosts commodities. So let's have a look at commodities. We've got West Texas oil at the moment is up 0.5% at $75.90, up 36 cents there. Brent oil is just up slightly, 3 cents to $78.94. Now, gold, of course, benefiting from a devaluation. US dollar is up 0.25%, $6.50 to $2,559. So looking pretty good there. And silver is over $30, of course, is up slightly at $30.44, up about 2 cents. So we're expecting some big things potentially for silver moving ahead right into the next year with the interest rate pivot September through October through December, and then of course into next year potentially we shall see where things will depend on how the economy goes as well. And we're going to talk about that today as well, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about Pompiliano and a few other things around the Fed and the monetary supply. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. What we've got tomorrow though is a big deal. NVIDIA's earning is in focus. NVIDIA's coming out, and of course we want to see how the AI fueled tech is going. That's going to be huge for the markets moving forward. We know that interest rate pivots often have a pullback in the markets. So really having the tech companies perform well is going to be very important to hold up that stock market value. And that will flow into crypto, no doubt. So that's why we're thinking about the wealth effect. That being said, with the wealth effect, will we actually, and sentiment, of course, will that actually allow crypto to do its own thing? And really have that super bull market to 100K. I'm still in that camp. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. But the NVIDIA results will be very important. And of course, we've got Apple as well. So that's kind of the other thing. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. We are ticking it down until the Fed Reserve. And let's have a see what the actual meeting is at the moment. 3 weeks and 17 days to go to the Fed meeting. And we're expecting 2/3 of the market expecting a 25-point basis cut at the moment. A third of the market expecting 50 basis point cuts. So that's 0.5% point. That would take us down to either 5.25 or 5%. We're currently at 5.5. That's the peak rate there, and we're looking for the pivot, right? So that's kind of play, or terminal rate, as some people like to say. All right, so that is kind of the play at the moment. Let's jump into some of the other news that hit the street, which was, man, these guys always do this. They often take down whole sectors, but Nomura, there was talking about the risk of collapse of the US tech stocks, and that's kind of what we don't want, really. You want that wealth effect and sentiment to play into crypto and rate cut expectations. So this is a bit of a note that the analysts put out. This happens a lot. These analysts, they let the market run. The analysts put in some, scary stuff, and then of course all their client base starts selling off, right? And that sort of begins the sell off. And they've probably got their other side of their trading desk doing the shorting, right, on the other side. This is how it kind of works. These guys, how they make their money, right? It's pretty shambalistic. And of course, one of the criticisms about capitalism is like Wall Street and places like that doing the sort of carry on. So yeah, they had noted a sharp decline in tech stocks was largely driven by the Fed hawkish shift during the June FOMC meeting, and that is no longer a factor in play. So basically, it was priced in. So yeah, we do need tech stuff here. If momentum turns risk on in response to the energy report, so this is what we're positive. We want a positive NVIDIA return, all sorts of stuff to keep the risk on aspect in play. Remember, we've got a lot of the same players now increasingly, with the ETFs and BlackRock moving into crypto. We get the big upside, but we've also got a lot of the same behavior happening, right? That's the other side of it. Fed rate cut expectations could be partially reversed, and that's kind of the outcome that we are looking for, right? So since tech stocks, they say, rose sharply and became very overvalued in April to June due to the excess liquidity-driven market, the Fed's hawkish shift spurred a rotation to undervalued sectors and then back into cyclicals and things like that. So people taking a few more safe havens there as well. All right, so that's kind of where we are on that. That kind of may have spurred the market too afterwards. So that's kind of where we are. All right, let's jump over to crypto though. Blood on the streets, crypto blood on the streets. You can see it in the chart there. I've even got the background has got blood there, right behind the background. And let's remove this off. You can see Bitcoin with the blood on the streets there. Anyway, so that's where we are. We've got a few people in the chat before we move forward. We've got Wookie says Trump said there would be blood on the streets. Yes, indeed, that's true. And there is Wookie's link to the strategy club if you want to join up. $35 a month, great value. We're looking for the best opportunities, multi-chain, and picking off some really good ones. So definitely check that out. Did a number of updates on Strategy Club today. So check all that intel. Craig Bittenhouse, morning all. Hey, Craig, hope you're doing well. Big shout out. Hey, we've got a number of updates on today's show. I mean, this is going to be a massive show today. We're just going to be covering so much cool stuff. Let's go silver, says Wookie. Absolutely. If you got a bunch of silver, it's going to look probably pretty good by next year. Blood on blood, says Wookie. Indeed. We've got Matt and Barley in house. Hey, big shout out to you, Matt. Hope you're doing well. Howdy all. And great to have Matt in the chat as well. Yeah, if you're not in the chat, maybe you don't make any comments much. Get in there and chat, folks. That's what it's all about, right? Social community. We're sharing this journey together. Let's jump forward here. So we've got Bitcoin down 5.5%. Woo! Below 60K too, $59,479. Bitcoin dominance at 55, pretty similar to yesterday. And what else we got going? We got Ethereum there down 8.76%. Wow, $2,453. And of course, Magic Heart Ride Ethereum, 170 ETH there. It's going down in value all the time. It was the purchase at about $3,700, if I remember rightly. So that's out of the money quite a bit. So Magic Heart Ride probably on the what do you call it, on the sidelines for the moment, barring some other money sources that are out there, right? Maybe the Hex ETH, the EAA ETH, or something like that. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. Solana down 7% as well. So everything in dark red's down over 5%. ADA down 5%. What else there? Matic at the moment down 8% on Matic. Now Matic's doing a token change, if I remember rightly. They're doing a token change. I think, when is that? The 3rd? I think it's the 3rd, isn't it? The 3rd of September. So that's about 5 days away, I think, for the Matic token change. If you guys are not aware of that, I think that's happening. XRP down 4%, 56 cents. Tron down 2.2%. 15.8 cents. What else is pretty interesting here? Optimism, the second layers, down 8.5%, $1.36. And Arbitrum as well, down quite a bit there, down 8.6% at 52 cents. Also, that's kind of where we are at the moment. Obviously, meme coins will be down. Meme coins being a leverage play, we're going to check that out as well. So let's zoom in on Bitcoin as we always do. And this is our zoom out, right? This is our daily chart. I mean, we've been kind of in this. That's been slightly curling down. You can see with slightly lower highs, right, coming in here, but still relatively holding up as the old Bitcoin now. Now we've got this. We had this nice little rally back up, got up to 65,000, and now we just the last 2 days. Look at that, bang, bang, down, down, down. Now we just finished this day, and only just finished how long? 13 minutes ago. This candle, this big red candle. We had the high of that day at 63,226, and now the low went to 58,000. Woohoo! Now you guys know we've got the support level here. I might as well zoom this along here. Kind of a little bit of support here around this price. I got it at 57,000 more or less around there. And we actually broke through the 50-day, the yellow line. That's a 50-day moving average. We broke through the 200-day moving average, and we actually closed like the 200-day moving average is $59,616. And we closed at 59,427. So about just under $200 lower on there, just below 200 days. So we're gonna have to do a bit of work to give over there, like our good TA friend in the chat said. Brennan's got his comment there, didn't he? Yeah. Bitcoin retesting 200 EMA for close. It could be positive for reversal. Well, on my chart, that is already closed, just slightly below. But who knows? We'll see where we go. But likely may end up retracing back down to where it was before at 58 and with maybe 57. So it might take another leg down here. We typically see that 1, 2, 3, 4. We might have another day or two, potentially a down leg. And the video will be very key tomorrow, right? And the video is going to be very key for the whole market, generally, all the markets. So yeah, let's see how we go overnight. Might have a retrace down a bit further, down to this zone again. We've been there once or twice before recently, right? So July and August. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. We're also trying to avert a death cross, right, in the charts. So we've got the yellow line above the blue line. That's how we want it to stay, because the death cross there, it just pulls even further sentiment down on that one. So that's kind of the place we are at the moment. What else? Got some comments in there. Brennan said it's all over. We close below, says Brennan. Yeah, so it's got to be the down. It's got to be a downward direction from there, right? So that's going to be the net, the most likely outcome. So that's probably why we're going to probably drift down the next day. Like I say, tomorrow's going to be really important with the NVIDIA result that could help subvert this downward movement. That's all we can say there. The second thing, of course, if we do go down, we probably got 52. I mean, if we went down even further, you've been talking about going down to 40, maybe 40, 42, 43. That's definitely possible before bouncing. And of course, let's see where we head there. Like I say, we do have good support at 52k. Maybe we'll bounce from there before we take off again. So maybe take get down to this good support level around 57 or so. And then, of course, the next leg would be down to 52 or something. And maybe we bounce from there, because when we get to October, it's going to be October, right? October, it's more likely to happen. Now we're going to check out all those stuff. Obviously, we've got the interest rate pivots. That's bullish news, probably more bullish for crypto than it is for stock markets. But we'll see how the market momentum goes with the tech stocks. And of course, the Fed rate has been priced in to some degree. We just don't know how much that's going to be. I think if it ends up being 50 basis points, that's going to be really bullish. But typically, when the interest rate pivot happens, the stock markets do have a retrace, right? So maybe 10, 20, 10, 15%, something like that, maybe. Can't remember off the top of my head what those percentages have been, but they definitely typically retrace. And then, of course, the US election, 5th of November, could be absolutely massive. We're going to check that out too. And, of course, if we get Trump victory on there as well. Now, we're getting a lot of gains with the polling by the corporate media. Their support, obviously, they delay polls. They can move the polls left. They can do all sorts of tricks to get the result that they want. And some of the polls recently have been just ridiculous coming out from them. So I think the only really reliable pollster out there is Rasmussen. The rest of them are just all corporate little link to the Democrat Party, probably. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And I think that, the Trump campaign is doing pretty well. And, of course, this alliance now with the, let's call them liberals or moderates, liberals or moderates, as opposed to progressives, extremism and Democrat Party, that unity party now being formed. The policies are being moderated a little bit there from Trump, but probably necessary in terms of pulling in the center into, and some of the left actually, into that movement to oust out the Democrats. So that's the kind of the game we're playing at the moment. Pro freedom, pro crypto, right? The most important election from this century, no doubt about that. This is a pivot of worldview, and that's why it's so important. And of course, for crypto, it's going to be important for us to have that bullish move. Now we're going to look at a chart on that. Let's go zoom in on that chart. So at the moment, this is the liquidations that we've had overnight. So 12 hours rec there, longs 234 million on Bitcoin, shorts 25 million, total 260 million on the 12-hour rec. That's half a day. That's half a day rec there. Full day is 315 million rec there, and of course 283 million on the longs, as people were expecting the price to go up, and of course the price is tanking, and the people on the shorts there, people expecting the price to go down. And probably just getting caught out at certain windows, 32 million there at that, as you get little bounce backs and they get shorted out. Maybe they haven't got very good positions in there. So massive wrecking going on with the market. Hopefully it's not you guys, but that's big money getting wrecked with this red candles happening in the last 24 hours. So I thought I'd highlight that. Massive money getting wrecked. Now the other thing, of course, we want to look out further afield, right? So where are we going? We knew we were going to have volatility during August, September. We have had that. It's been both positive and negative with the volatile up and downs. And of course, where are we going from here? Well, looking back in the past of Bitcoin history, all the way back to at least 2013, we can see what month we have is typically negative. Well, September is. August is a 50-50 almost, maybe not even that, maybe a 60-40 negative. And so we got this volatility. That's why I've been talking about volatility in August. We've also got September is one of the two worst months, right? So September is typically negative. However, last year was positive, and it was positive green. And so what are we going to have in September? Well, probably more volatility is our guess, but we do have the interest rate pivots coming up on the 18th September. So maybe that can pivot us out. And if the tech stocks keep, performing well, maybe that will as well. But they'll probably get priced in, even with good results, and we probably continue that volatility in September. That gets us to October, and we call it Uptober, right? And of course, look at all those green months historically. So the chances are we'll have a very good month in October. That's why we're talking about October, November, December being a really nice rally, maybe heading onto that 100K. Now, this is Bitcoin. This is crypto. It's volatile. But when the up market comes at the right time, it can move around. It can reverse so quick. And of course, if you sell out because of fear, you miss out. And suddenly the market reverses it. They shake you out, and then they reverse it. And this is kind of what we're looking at the moment. So still feeling very bullish about October, November, December. We're also in a halving year, right? So we're also in a halving year. So let's have a quick look at the halving chart progress. as you guys know, we've looked at this before. So we got these green lines are all the halvings, right? So we've got the halving here in 2012, 2016, 2020, and then of course we got the halving we just had in 2024. April 22nd, something like that. And so yeah, we have had a rally in there. We've had this volatility. Look, I mean, that chart, that's what we're looking at, that volatility there. I mean, that's what we're seeing in this chart, volatility. That's that sort of area. And we can see on the Bitcoin halving, we're having that volatility. We have that before. Yeah, we had it in 2020. We had quite a bit of volatility here too, 2020. We also had it after 2016, right? Look at that. Look at that slumpness in the months after the halving. And then what happened after that? What happened? It was pretty awesome. Look at that. Woo! It was rocks, just a rally all the way up to massive amount in 2016 to 2017. And then we had a massive rally out of into 2021, all the way up, of course, to about 51 or something thousand. And of course, look at this. We're already up. We're breaking new highs and going into the halving and source. So we're waiting for this stuff, right? This big rally here. That's what we're waiting for. A big rally here, potentially. A big rally here as well after the halving. And of course, that's what we're waiting for after here. So I wouldn't get too nervous at this stage. Obviously, we've got separate, history rhymes, as they say. May not repeat, but rhymes. And like I say, we've got really good monthly history supporting us. So the history looks good. Now, looking at what we had this year as well, we got Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs. So that's even more bullish sitting in behind there. The other thing, of course, is we also have analysts like Mike Lee talking about 150 to 180K for Bitcoin during this bull market cycle. And so we've got most of this rally to go. I mean, we've virtually got all this to go. That's huge moving forward into, the end of 24 and 2025. Now, obviously, it's going to be supercharged, amplified if we get Trump in there as a pro-crypto king. And, of course, if we have more victories we have in court, I guess the SEC is going to be bullish too. Richard Hart, of course, leading that on the freedom side as well, taking it right back to the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which we had that in all of the West. The West would love to have the First Amendment of the Constitution. Everywhere else, it's a much weaker level of a standard of free speech, and you can already see fascists come in, socialists and Labour parties come in, and they're trying to remove all that freedom, right, and characterize an upside down world, right? So that's kind of the play we got at the moment. So looking really, really positive on the halving. Now, the next thing we've also got to have is a Bitcoin price chart versus the elections. So just to give you the elections here, we had rallies in through the Trump election. We had rallies through the Obama election 2012, Trump 2016. We had rallies, look at that. The Biden 2020, you can decide whether it was legit or not. And we had a rally through there as well. And then, of course, we've now got the election 2024 and, of course, expecting the same rally. So you've got to see spur. And, of course, if Trump wins, it's going to be absolutely amplified as well. Now, talking about that, we know that the Fed has been trading off. The Fed has been trading off employment for inflation. And, of course, they're expecting a much softer landing given the way that the economics have gone. And, of course, but now they're looking to pivot, right, because inflation has come down quite a bit. And so they're looking to do that. So the key is, will we get a hard landing? Will it surprise us? Because at the moment, we're expecting a soft landing. Will we get a moderate landing or a hard landing? Obviously, that's pretty devastating for the real economy. And what power does the Fed have to hold that up, right? So we're kind of moving into scenarios here. If we did have a hard landing into next year, what would that mean? Well, the fact is we've got a lot more power. The Federal Reserve's got a lot more firepower now. With the interest rates up at 5.5% of federal funds rates means that they can lower the rates and tackle the issues to stimulate the economy. The other thing also is that they have been tapering off their the monetary supply and the Fed balance sheet. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Before we do that, though, let's talk about the ETF and where demand's coming from. At the moment, we can see that 2,000 Bitcoin have been sold out of the Bitcoin ETFs. That's a net amount, with the majority of that in GBTC and BitB. So those are the two ones there. And, of course, ARCB as well, down 1,600. So we had a bit of a negative with this price sell-off. But we have had, every day before, has had positive growth in the Bitcoin ETF. Look at that, 3,000, 4,000, 1,000. So we've had positive growth in a number of Bitcoin net buys, right? That's net buys And of course, we look at the US dollars there, negative down 127 million at the moment. The day's not finished. We had 200 million plus yesterday, 250 the day before, 664 million. So we're having nice flows in there coming in through the ETFs. These will quickly go, you watch it go into the $1 billion mark once we get that rally on, potentially in October. So that's kind of what we're looking there for at the moment in the US election. So looking pretty positive overall is the Bitcoin ETF. The other thing before we get into the recession issue is that Bitcoin altcoin season. Obviously, we're in Bitcoin season, very strong here on blockchain data center, and of course, we're in Bitcoin season at the moment. Obviously, we want to flick over to altcoin season at some stage, but that is just a little bit of way off. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out as well. So this is based on the 3/4 month. Even looking monthly, we're still on the Bitcoin buyer side, and in the year, we're definitely on the Bitcoin buyer side as well. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. So that is for Bitcoin. That's kind of the layout there. So still expecting volatility. May get a little bit of a pump after the late September, and then really expecting things to still kick off in October for that big hyper rally, right? So we may just be getting the final shakeout right now, like I say, and we may have good support around 56, 57,000. And then if we do drop that, 52, and then potentially by the time we get into October, maybe even late September, potentially we are off to the races. That's the expectation there. Looking exciting. So I said we're going to cover a lot of charts we have, but we're also going to cover the scenario where the Fed's pivoting. Do we get some sort of recession coming? Well, we're expecting a kind of a soft, moderate landing, but will we get something more severe? If we do, what does the Fed have to lift the markets and keep the markets pumping? They need to be able to have tools. So we're going to look at this first video. This is Pompliano talking about the interest rates at 5.5%, so they can lower those to attack the recession. Or the other tool that they have is open money market activities and therefore expand the Treasury balance sheet. So that is the other one. So let's have a look at the first video here around interest rates and Pompliano.
The Fed, which has 5.5% interest rates and can cut, it's like they reloaded their gun. And so now we're sitting here and we're saying, hey, the Fed's not out of the fight. The Fed took a water break, right? They went and they got a sandwich. They took a nap. They are fresh, ready to fight. And so if there is a market downturn or if they decide it's time, they're going to fire everything they got, which means the playbook of the second half of 2020 is coming back and asset prices will absolutely rip, because now the Fed's going to stimulate the economy. The Fed has not been stimulating the economy and we're still at or near all-time highs. Imagine what happens when they start the stimulation process.
Yeah, so some good points there. Obviously, we're expecting the first pivot there, the 18th September. So I think that's pretty exciting. So the 18th September there, let me just pull that chart back up there. So yeah, and we may get the lift a bit later, right? But maybe the stock market does do a little bit of retrace and we get the big lift. So it's really going to depend on those tech stocks and stuff, how they perform as well. So that's kind of the play there. The other thing, of course, they have is their ability to do open market activities and increase the balance sheet, right? So this is the balance sheet for the Federal Reserve over the last 5 years. You can see back in 2020 during the period that we won't talk about, but it had massive expansion of money there. So you're talking about 4 trillion in February 2020. Ramping up to June there to 7.17 trillion on the US Federal Reserve balance sheet. So massive hyper. Now, this is really misleading because the US government also did massive expansion of foreign printing as well. So it's another topic, but yeah, this is the domestic. So then you sort of see it sort of step up through 2021, got up to like $9 trillion. Around about March 2022, sort of started tapering off, got a little bit of bounce back in March 2023, and has since been, reducing there. So, moved from expansion to retraction there, and we're currently sitting around $7.14 trillion on the Federal Reserve Bank balance sheet, right? So they do have a bit of activity here. You could see this do some bizarre expansion again, should they choose to do that. So they're two main tools, right? They have in their arsenal should things get a bit tougher, but nevertheless the interest rate pivot is coming, and it's just a matter of how big and how fast it will be. But that will all those positive things spur the markets on, and that's where Pompliano are getting very excited there. So yeah, that's kind of where we are at the moment. Now moving to Ethereum. Ethereum at the moment is at $2,437. Now, we already had a death cross on Ethereum back here on the 13th of August. And so, yeah, we've had a couple of days, an extra day on it where it's been negative. And you can already see that Ethereum there's already starting to move down. So Ethereum closed at 2,457. And now it's already starting to move down at the moment and trying to get back to that close again from the looks of it. So that's where we are at the moment on Ethereum. So short term on the downside and volatility through September still in play, at least toward the 18th of September. We'll see what happens after that. And of course, that's where we are playing out at the moment. But like I say, I haven't got the Ethereum ETF up, but we probably should have pulled that up when I had it. But that is in play as well. So when we get that pivot, probably October, that's when we think the party is going to really be starting now into the US election. So that's kind of play on Ethereum. The 200-day moving average is currently at $3,014. The 50-day is at $2,868, and we're currently at $2,442 on Ethereum right now. And looking at support line, probably around about $2,185. Looks like on the horizontal there at the moment. So it's kind of where we might get some support. We already pierced through that a couple of weeks back. We already got down to 2,116. So yeah, that is probably the play there. Yeah, 2,100 to 2,200 is the next support line should we end up going down there. Certainly looking a negative like that into the end of September. Like I say, October being the pivot, as we saw in all those other charts. The market just starts rolling after that, right? They shake you out, make some money, and then try to make more money by pumping the market back up again post the halving, right? So that's kind of place where we are at the moment. All right, so that's kind of the big market update. Hope you guys enjoyed some of those charts and insights. Let's see what comments we've got in the chat. Matt is lower is the direction. Absolutely, Matt. What's the buys? Is it Pulse, PDI, Hex, or some doggy memes? Says Matt. We're going to get up to all of that. Rich Hart and Pulsechain. That's our. We'll come up to that topic next. We were only hot crips in 2021 for 3 months. Says Yellowtail. We got Tin Top in the house there. What's up, Mexicans? Like Tin Top. Hope you're doing well, mate. And Big K in the house as well. Building time to harvest next year, says Big K. That's right. That's true. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the meme coins in the market. So we're talking about Bitcoin runes. We can see. Let me do a refresh here because it's probably stuck on the matrix. Where we're up to here. So dog go to the moon. So this is the one we're backing for the big win on Bitcoin. It kind of makes sense to have the most valuable coin on the most valuable chain. Currently at the moment, dog is at 4.9 sats. The market cap's sitting at 290 million. So we wiped out. We had a big rally and we wiped that out, and it's back down to where it was. So basically that, and then of course the Bitcoins come down, right? So leverage plays, the Bitcoins come down. But let's look at the positivity here with dog on the runes, because what's happening is very, very interesting. The holder count has just hit 83,000, and it's almost at 83. That was earlier today. It's almost at 83,100. So the holder count is continuing to go up, up, up and away, a couple hundred a day from the looks of it. So this is really, really positive. If we look at the all-time chart, that's the last day all-time chart. You can see we're back down. We had that nice little pump. We got up to 5.8 sats, back down to 4.9. But we've been accumulating holders by the thousands in here. And that is super bullish. When we get some positive news like a tier one exchange, man, it's going to be up, up and away on this one. And remember that previously it got up to 13.1 sats when Bitcoin was 71K. It was at 98 of a penny, just below 1 cent. And that is just below $1 billion market cap. So yeah, still backing us big time for the win at the moment, and lovely accumulation zone for pickup. But you can see the holder numbers are being picked up. The market's picking it up. We're gaining hundreds of holders every time during this accumulation zone. And when it goes, it's going to go. And so really, really positive things happening there on the runes. Now, remember, runes protocol launched at the halving, Bitcoin halving, and so in April. And so this is early days. The other ones are doing pretty well. Rysek's down a little bit there today. Pepe surpassed the moon. There's a new one that's ended here, but it's down 52% at the moment. Nakamoto Dollar up 2%. Pups World up 12%. So some nice moves in the top 10. Let's see here. Rooney down 17%. Liquidity at number 10 is down 2% there as well. One of my other favorites, Lobo the Woolpup, down 1% at the moment. Market cap still 16 million. So there we go. I really still think the dog is the one for the win there. Now moving to the ordinal collections here on Magic Eden. Magic Eden is the number one DEX for trading. Unisat's another good one. But you can see that Runestone is how people got the dog token from Leonidas, the founder, is sitting at 0081 BTC, and it's still dominating the volume, right? It's still dominating the volume and the transactions over on the ordinals. So the current buy at the moment on us is where's the trades on here? Current buy is I'm trying to find the list here. They've changed the way this looks. View all offers. No, they've changed the whole format. Anyway, it's not bringing up the previous offers there. So yeah, this is ticking away pretty nicely. 74,400 owners of Runestone. Still got 2 more airdrops embedded in it based on the success of Dog Rune, right? So if Dog drags everything up, then it's going to reach certain milestones and do more airdrops of those holding the Runestone. So not bad there as well. The other thing with the ordinals is that you got lots of really popular teams in here. Bitcoin Puppets, Gnome Monks, they're all in here as well. Pizza Ninja's been doing pretty well lately, up 9%. Nat Cats as well, up 6.6%. Now Bitmap is really hot. It's going to be one of those longer games during the bull market. You got to sort of accumulate them. May even be, because they're building technology on this big, basically metaverses. So it's going to be really interesting to see the Bitmap. It's going to be tricky to do all the timing, but they're definitely building a lot of stuff on Bitmaps. So yeah, it's going to be fun to see that play out now. That's kind of like land, taking every block in the Bitcoin blockchain, turning it into land maps. And basically, you can the rarer the block, the more valuable potentially the Bitcoin land that you have, etc. And of course, people looking to build, I think, 3D worlds and stuff like that on top of it. So bitmaps is something you want to accumulate over time because they really could be something that really rallies in the future. But once again, just a longer term play at the moment. That's kind of it on the Bitcoin runes. But we're also going to look at meme coins overall here on CoinMarketCap. And we can see at the moment Dogecoin is sitting at 14.3 billion. So we were well over 15.5 billion the other day. So we're back down 4.5% on Dodge, the number 1 meme coin in the world. Let's have a look at some of the others that have been moving. Floki's still up 17% for the week. It's been a really good performer, but it's down 3.4% today. Popcat on Solana has also been probably the best performer out of the top meme coins, still up 54% for the week, down 5% almost for the 24 hours. Now, Dogs is this new corporate one, and that is down 23% after launching. And of course, related to it's on the the Ton network, which is related to Telegram, right? And the Telegram founder got arrested in France, so you got a bit of a drag on that one. So Dogs still holding up though, at very well on its debut, pretty much at $630 million. And then of course we're just scrolling down here a bit further, a bit of retrace on those. Pepcoin up 43% for the week, down 7%, and then we get to our favorite one here, Dog, which is down only 1% for the week, 10% for the day. So it's lost a lot of that gain that it had just for today because Bitcoin has come down and it's a leverage play. There we are. Now we do see Sundog rising up here as well, just sitting in behind Dog, and that is up 14% for the week, so not too bad. Got some other nice small movers too. Simon's Cat up 73% for the week, but down 20% today. So this is the old leverage play, right? You got other ones there. MAGA is up 21%. Now this is probably going to be a really good pick for the US election, right? The old MAGA on Ethereum. And it's down up 20% for the week, down 12% today. But your timing is key on the entry, right? Timing is key on the entry to get it, buy it low and hold it for the high play leading into the election. So you know that Trump one's probably going to rally into that 5th of November, right, is the election. What else we got going there? Mum the Bull, that's up 38%. So there are some really nice movers in the last week in the top meme coins. Total market of crypto, 2.07 trillion, down 6.3%. Volume, of course, is up 16% at $78 billion. And that's where we are at the moment. Bitcoin dominance has tripped over in the 56.3% with Ethereum at 14.2%. And Gwei on Ethereum has bounced from its 1 Gwei, now putting 9 Gwei on this retrace. So there we go. That is it on the old general crypto. That's going to get us into day 473 on Pulsechain. So let's get into Richard Hart and Pulsechain now. Let's see if we've got any more comments to talk about. We got Bitfinex in the house there. Anyone here launched a token today? Just checking. Yeah, well, there was a comment some time back that someone saw on X, and it was something I've been thinking about as well, is that that they reckon about probably 70% of the Pulsechain and Hex influencers would launch their own coin before the end of the bull market. And that's hilarious, right? That is hilarious. And what have we seen? We've seen a good number. I would say we've seen a very high number of the active influencers. There's a lot of influencers in the past, that people talk about 150 influencers in Pulsechain Hex community, but how many of them are actually active, right? That have been consistent, and that's a much smaller percentage, right? And out of that smaller percentage, we have probably seen a good percentage of that do their own influencer coin or projects. Now, some of them are different. They're not all equal, right? Some of them are very sort of meme-ish. They rise and die. Others are based on ecosystems where they actually have proper tokenomics and proper protocols. So they're not all the same, right? They're not all the same. I think of, you've got different crews trying to create value. I mean, think of Access Alive out there. Think of Randy Alaski trying to do good stuff in the ecosystem to create opportunities for people and based around, reasonably sound stuff. And sometimes if they launch multiple tokens, some of them win, some of them don't. Maybe some of them just require, Pulsechain to rally, and there's all sorts of different things out there. So nevertheless, that has been funny how we've had so many launched. And of course, recently we've seen C7 doing some sacrifice things. So people have been talking about that as well. Funny. Hey, Wookie is Wookie stoned. You're not stoned, I hope. Whole lot of discounts going on, says Diamond Hands. Absolutely, that's true. There is a lot of discounts in the market at the moment. Timing is key. Buy low, sell high, right? We've got Archie, the head of the. I've got to get this right today. I got it wrong earlier today. The head of the syndicate. I'm just going to say that. Yeah, it's great to have Archie in the house there. Botched up this morning on that one. Anyway, let's move on. All right, so let's jump over to Pulsechain. We've got days 473. Sorry, 473 is the results we got, and we can see that at the moment Pulse is at quadruple 0349, down 3.9%, and PulseX is at 18.3. So 183 or 1830, as we say, is down 3.6%. The buy and burn doesn't care too much. It's at 961.1 billion. PulseX has been bought up and burned, and it is part of the superior combination of Pulse and Pulsechain and PulseX. The total burn at the moment, 4.76% of the public supply, so that's just ticking away there. INC, $1.74 is down 4.2%. Obviously, 3.87% is the Pulse price. The ratio has dropped just a little bit below 50,000 at 49,941. The total supply at the moment, 40,666,000 incentive tokens. And of course, they are created by the V1 PulseX farms and are doing pretty well there. Hex at the moment, down a massive 8.37%. Whoa, it is down at just below 4200th of a penny. Can you believe it? And eHex there at 1100th of a penny. Now, Hex was trending on X last night. I think it's probably still trending. So it's been getting a lot of coverage there in the last 24 hours. But the combined price of EX and PX is just below 5300th of a penny. So just over half a cent. It is a steal right now in the old Hex there. Crazy. Now we've got some charts coming up from Crispy Man around the Hex T shares. So hold on for that. We're going to talk about that later on. I see we've got a big show in play. There we go. So that's day 473. We're start day 474. Let's have a look at the charts on Pulse. This is the weekly. I'm just doing the weekly now, just given the fact that we're at the bottom, so it's no use to getting any further there. Just accumulate zone. That's pretty much it from my point of view. Obviously, we've had Richard Hart's dismissal, and that's in favor. I find that that's my position, is that that's a favorable outcome. There are a number of weaknesses, including the alter ego argument being pretty much dropped and weakened. This is really bad for the SEC. Going to not bode well going into the oral hearings, and I think they've got a lot of other weaknesses as well. And the other thing is that Richard Hart is really championing the First Amendment and free speech, blockchain free speech. It's going to have wide implications for all of crypto and blockchains. So he really is fighting the people's fight, as the old Richard there. So I'm really excited about that. At the moment, a real steal here at 3,400. Now, obviously, we're going to have volatility going in, just like with the rest of the market. But that's where we are at the moment. And Magic Carp Ride, probably not going to be seeing that anytime soon, unless other money, third-party money, is used there, maybe like we talked about earlier. Oral hearings is coming up in the 24th of October, I think it was, and that is coming up there. So it's a few weeks away in October, and we probably won't hear anything about that until maybe December, January. Could be 30 to 90 days before we hear anything about that. And of course, it comes back into the US election. Like I say, on a daily basis, if Trump wins, he's pro-crypto. He's going to get rid of Gary Gensler. He's going to simplify the regulations and make them clear. And he's also going to probably drop a lot of the lawfare, which may include Richard Hart's case as well. And that would be because it's really super weak, right? So probably that one. And then that's kind of where we are. So that's kind of the insurance policy, as I call it. So that's another reason for a Trump victory there. And of course, now he's aligned with moderate Dems like the Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard and people like that. So now there's more people coming out. So he's really moving into that middle ground to get the percentages up. So that's kind of not too bad. So that's where we are at the moment on Pulse. Let's say we go Pulsex. Pulsex, of course. Pulsex is actually going through our yellow support line here. So that's pretty significant. That would then be the fact that we've still got 1700 as a support line on the horizontal. We break that though, and our next level is really down somewhere between 1500 and 1400. So we are breaking that on here just with this down momentum. And we had that nice, beautiful yellow support line on the angular. We still have higher lows. Unlike Pulsechain chart, we've kind of still got higher lows. So it's ticking away there at the moment. Let's have a look at the daily. Yeah, we broke that yellow line. So that's unfortunate. But there we go. Sentiment on the market is a negative at the moment. And we knew it was going to be volatile at least through September. So there we are at 37 at the moment. So shame about that. It was looking pretty good on that horizontal. We got other support lines, but just lost that key one there. Now moving to Pulse. This is Pulsex versus Pulse. Pulsex has still been a better bet, right? So if you flip your Pulse back here, when Pulsex could only get a quarter of a pulse, you'd be well in the money, relatively speaking, on Pulsex. So that has been the trend, your friend. Just eased off the last 3 weeks, though, as you can see in the chart there. But you still get over half a pulse for every Pulsex that you have at the moment. INC, let's have a look at the ratio. We just dropped below 50,000. We're still there. Yeah, we're only just slightly below 50,000, 49,840. We're still slightly below the middle of the range. So that's still ticking away. Not too much to see. Probably weaken down, maybe possibly head down a bit lower into the bottom of this range during the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks. No, maybe even that, maybe 3.5 weeks. We'll see. Hex, of course, nothing to say about here. Just really, really low. Great accumulation zone for Hex at the moment. Nice to see the Hex trending on X last 24 hours. It's kind of the play there. The RSI on the weekly at 37. Moving to the daily on Hex on Pulsechain. RSI quite down here at 37. Can go low, of course, and did dip down to 43. 4100th of a penny, closed at 43. Currently at 43. So there we are. That is on Hex. Pretty much easy to get lots of volume at the moment on the old Hex. Kind of a dream come true for some people. And EHEX is similar there. Of course, EHEX not being a magic outright, and also has the BankX resistance at 7/10 of a penny up the top there once we do get moving on the right direction. And of course, October is kind of the pick for that. That's pretty much on those. Let's go to the derivatives. No, nothing's green on derivatives at the moment, so we'll move on from that. Stable coins. And the only thing that's green is actually Coast, one of the peg stables. It's at 97.5 cents, but it's not pegged. It is up slightly today. Looking at PDI is at 800th of a penny, down 4.7%. That's kind of where we are at the moment on stables. Moving to influencers. We've got V1 Ben Armstrong is at up 3% at the moment. So it's kind of everything else is pretty much down. Let's have a look at SolidX. SolidX at $15.76. Maybe a good pickup for SolidX, right? Because we know that big game's coming, the crash game, multi-chain, that's coming maybe by the end of the year. They just needed audits there from DragonX. They could keep a lookout for that. But SolidX could be a really nice upward swing there. Maybe even challenge Mafia potentially for top GameFi on Pulsechain. It's great to see these games come along because we're starting to get potentially killer apps that are going to help make Pulsechain successful. Pulsechain's really got 3 legs to be successful in my view, and that's one of them. So as developers pulling out killer apps, so kind of cool, up 6% at the moment. All right, let's jump over to the overall markets and see how we're going on Pulsechain. Let's see here. Yeah, the other cool thing is that Richard Hart really is, with this SEC case, really fighting the fight for not just Pulsechain, but for crypto generally, and it's really exciting to see that. So we're at $8.8 million. So yeah, we got a bounce in the volume. We had over $6 million yesterday, so 8.8 million. Obviously, unfortunately, it's once again we get these volume spikes on a down day, but this is the way it goes. 150,000 transactions almost, 146,000. So it's pretty similar to yesterday. Looking at the best movers today, Gifford Ware making a big move at the moment. So Gifford Ware, Crypto Cooler in the gang. Could make a song about that. Crypto Cooler in the gang. They are up 37%. How come they're against the grain there, right? PermaGIF as well, up 33%. Not sure if they've had any other announcements. Let me know in the chat if you have, because I don't necessarily follow that closely, but they're up in the charts today. Let's have a look at Giveaware, see what that chart looks like with that big move. Nice little rounder here. Look at that. Nice. Maybe if they come back a little bit, cup and handle, but that's looking pretty good on the day. Look at that. That's the Giveaware. Let's go to X and see whether they've got anything. Maybe they've got some notice out there. I don't know. Let's see what else there. June the 4th. No, nothing in particular. But Gifford, we're up on the charts at the moment. What's the liquidity? 25K. So good liquidity to move the price up and down. 324 makers. They've got a lot of activity on these things, bots or something. And then, of course, the market 4.6 million there at the moment. So that is a Gifford Ware. Definitely one of the better, experimental projects on Pulsechain, along with PGIF, right? PGIF and UFO. Speaking of PGIF, UFO is up 2.3%. Gophers are back, up 1.6%. And of course, if Gophers there, if we go to the website for Gophers, this is one of Dipcatcher's projects. It was the first ERC 404 contract on the Pulsechain, and boy, was it popular when it launched. It did very, very well indeed. But let's have a look at where it's at the moment. That's been a down chart ever since, unfortunately. $261. Peaked out at $3,800. So there we go. That's on the old Gophers. And of course, they launched on Basechain. Was it Basechain they launched? Or Solana? One of those. I think it was Solana, actually. So that is that one. Alien. Yeah, so UFO, Alien, PDC. That's the other team. All those three tokens in that ecosystem are doing well. Up slightly green as well. So, these are the ones we've been talking about doing well, and they have been doing well. So there we go. We've even managed to get Loan Token, one of the top DeFi protocols, is up 0.5% as well. But that's really not probably going to move until Pulse and PulseX. So, the Power Cities, the liquid loans. Now, one strategy would be to accumulate these blue chips because you've got to wait till Pulsechain goes, and then they're going to be a leverage play on Pulsechain, just like, the meme coins are on Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that. So that's kind of where we are there at the moment. All right. Kind of cool. That is day, what do we say? Day 473. Let's go to the gas prices on Pulsechain quickly. 164,000 beats, so pretty average. We're sitting at 0.2 of a penny for a PulseX swap, 100th of a penny for Pulsecoin transfer, 400th of a penny for a PRC20 token transfer. Gwei on Ethereum apparently is back at 1. We're 426 times cheaper than that. Let's go to the validators as well. Like with this Pulse price down at the moment, picking up 32 million Pulse and becoming a validator, a very good passive income opportunity, right? And we've currently got 48,449 active validators, 1.55 trillion is staked on the Pulse, so it's off the market. And David Feder's validator store has been dominating. So if you want to get preloaded software, I think it is, and hardware, validator store is definitely a good solid option there from David Feder, a very highly respected member of the Pulsechain Hex community. And they're dominating. 71% of active validators seem to have gone through validator store. So big shout out to him. I know he's been enjoying that. Bridge. Let's have a look at the bridge. Oh. I think we were sitting at 93 million yesterday. We're now at 89.9, so 90 million. So we're down about 3 million on the day. How about that? That's with the retrace. Obviously, Ethereum will be down. Bitcoin will be down. Coaster's up slightly. EHEX is down slightly. So we're down on quite a few of these. Looks like even the PDI is down. We're just below 27 million. Pretty sure we're above that. So yeah, a little bit of edging off some of the stables maybe. But really ETH and Rep Bitcoin sending us down today, along with EHEX there a little bit. So that is pretty much it on that. Let's jump over. That is pretty much it. So I want to talk about Crispy Man and Hex. We're going to get into that. So this is a really interesting chart. We've got Hex Pulse, the first 2039 Poseidon has emerged. Can you believe it? That's mind-boggling. So if you guys know the categories based on your percentage of T-shares, this became popular with Hex, of course. Other projects use it widely to work out how big they are in this ecosystem. While the first prosperous Poseidon in the house there, 2039, the first ever has emerged. Isn't that crazy? So one account of those, that's crazy. That's from Hexify. Crispy Man, he's the only one still doing deep dives into Hex and does it on a regular basis. And of course, he's an analyst in that space, so he's got his own website and all the charts and everything. So he's doing great. I like to do the high level on this channel, as you guys know, just talk about the T-share payments and the general movements. but Crispy Man goes next level with the stuff. So pretty cool. Now, if you guys want to follow Crispy Man, and he's on YouTube as well, then I'll post the link here so you guys can follow along. But that's a pretty big news, isn't it? I mean, it's 2039. Let's not forget, but it's still a pretty cool milestone there. And of course, here we are in 2024. Hex's long life, right? That's the blockchain for you. Now, questions are, what's the OA going to do? The Origin account, what's going to happen with all the big Hex? Are we going to see another like big payday thing where we get a big share rate jump, and help push the price up of Hex? We're going to get some God mode candles in Hex. We're going to see some magic carpet ride in Hex, or all of the above. It's going to be fun to see Hex play out. There's so many mechanisms that are available to the OA. And of course, we saw that video at the beginning with Richard Hart talking about all his tricks. He's got a bunch of tricks. And of course, at the moment, he's obviously dealing with the SEC and doing a pretty alpha job of that with the dream team of lawyers. And of course, the based on layman's view. And we've had some, the other day, we had a lawyer's review on that. It's looking really in his favor there on a lot of fronts. Now, we're going to ultimately find out in October, but things are certainly looking good in that space, in my view. So it could be really very bullish moving ahead, especially if we get time it with the market with Thief, and we're getting that big bull market rally that we're expecting. So that's kind of the play there at the moment on that one. And let's jump over to some other news we had. Now, obviously, Pulsechain has a lot of cool GameFi developers. Jacob, of course, is pretty much a world leader, and we have him on Pulsechain. We're very lucky to have him on Pulsechain. He's got a big team, of course. Now, we've got a new game that's, a new, I should say, betting that you can do on the events. So if you go to events here on PulsePop, I'm going to post that there. Then we've had, if you click on to the election, they've got a election here that you can do. Now, at the moment, it's 2.17 to Donald Trump, 1.85 to Democrat Party. Now, people are following these corporate polls, right? The corporate polls are wrong. So if people are betting on Kamala, that's going to be a mistake. I can tell you that much. Once again, you have to decide. But you can place a bet. Just click the green button. You can place a bet on here. So get in on that one. If you'd like to, you want to bet on the election, that is definitely something you can do there on a Pulsechain. So I'll post that as well. But yeah, you can see that, the corporate polls are being manipulated definitely easily. The last one's had 7-point difference. I mean, that's just nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. So there we go. That is pretty much it playing out there. You can see the bidders. I've had 5 players so far, and this has just been launched, so you're early on this one. 7 players on the Kamala side there, so get on that. Now you will earn Pulse Predict tokens, and the big news about that was that we first of all we had a 60-day delay because they said they weren't ready for the marketing, and now we've had another 60-day delay because they say that the Oracle's not ready. And so the Oracle is coming to Pulsechain, right? We need an Oracle on Pulsechain. So that is a pretty big infrastructure thing for Pulsechain. Like I said, Pulsechain is still growing out. We get that Oracle out there. It's going to be very useful. And of course, Pulse Predict, you can still continue to earn Predict tokens by betting on events, by price predictions, setting up your own price predictions, or betting on ones that people set up, or going to the Earn tab and going through a lot of these lists and see what you can earn. There's a few free ones in there. The rest of them are going to require to do some sort of betting. And of course, you'll make it to the leaderboard if you do any of those 3 items. And you'll be able to get a share of the rewards every day. Every day there's a reward payout. I think it's 115 million here. That's the total payout so far. But every day there's some payouts. You can see if you're at the top, you get 150,000 a day. And of course, if you're now the bottom 50, it's the top 50 that get paid. You get 10,000 Pulse Predict tokens a day. And so, that is the opportunity. And of course, the claim here has been extended for another 60 days. So the second 60 days, what do we say? 2 more weeks? Well, 2 more months, apparently, is Jacob saying. 2 more months. Anyway, we'll get there in the end, I'm sure. So that is that at the moment. So you can 4 ways of earning: sacrifices, activity, staking, and NFTs. Is how you get Pulse Predict tokens. And that's where we are at the moment. So that's kind of cool. That is get on right and participate. Just you can connect your wallet up. You can have as many wallets as you want and start trying to earn. That's up to you. And of course, another thing coming up is the boxing fight. That's coming up on the 15th of November. So get in on that one. All right. That was the latest news on that. Now we're going to talk about TitanX. Are we ready? This is our 3rd main topic. Before we do, though, have we got any more comments? No, we haven't. Everyone's pretty quiet today. All right. So let's get into TitanX. Now, obviously, we talk about this in Strategy Club. So if you haven't joined our Strategy Club, links in the video description. And of course, I think we've got Wookie's link in the top in the chat there as well. Let me find that link. Wookie is got his link to Strategy Club. So if you want to join, you can join up today. $35 a month, pretty good value. And we talk about multi-chain opportunities there. I post a lot of intel constantly. Any intel I see put in there as well. Yeah, we look at multi-chain. So not just Pulsechain, multi-chain opportunities. The Bitcoin, the bull market only comes once and every like maybe 4 years. So you've got to get in and win on that. And yeah, we look at multi-chain opportunities where we can have a diversified portfolio, but of winners, trying to pick the winners and have a diversified portfolio. So to get in on that as well. It's a private club within the Pulsechain and Hex Discord that we run. So there we go. All right, let's get into it. Let's go to TitanX. We did have the DragonX founder, Eric, on, about a week ago, maybe 5 days ago. That was a really good interview, and he's doing a great job there. But let's have a look at TitanX on Ethereum. And we can see that Blaze at the moment is up 8.7%. BDX, Baby DragonX, is up 2.6%. And Blaze, yeah, doing pretty well. They're the kind of leaders there at the moment. We can see that Hyper is down 1.4%, but Hyper is looking really, really good as a potential pickup. That's looking like low supply. Looks really good. So you want to get in the Strategy Club to learn more about that. Helos as well is down 3%. TitanX only down 3%. So the market's down like 8.5%. And these are only down a couple of percentage points. And this is short term. So get on that. DragonX as well. Another one that did a 30x recently. DragonX did a 30x, that's right. So that is only down 3.3% at the moment. Inferno, of course, another team that's operating at the moment. It's got I think 8 cycles, and it's done 5 cycles, and it's got 3 cycles left. That's where it opens up and to allow you to put TitanX and then issue Inferno, and that's got 3 weeks left to go. So total of supplies Inferno will be out inside another 3 weeks. So, but it's also bullish for TitanX, getting rid of the TitanX supply. And then we've got the meme coin, JakeX there, down 13%, pretty volatile, but has been making pretty mad gains lately. It was like 50, 60% yesterday. You can see this chart on the meme coin there, JakeX, kind of a meme coin that got issued. So not probably a fair launch, but all the rest of them are kind of fair launches. So, and they're all ROI mining protocols, all built on the TitanX ecosystem. TitanX ecosystem at the moment, looking really good. Let's go to the daily. Obviously coming down a little bit with the market, but the daily, look at that, looking very, very good indeed. Now, there's probably only maybe in my view about 3 weeks to go to get in on TitanX and all the ecosystem. It's about to go ballistic, and that timing would be very good with late September, mid-late September. So this thing has got so many flywheels and buy and burns and projects now. This thing is, and the inflation of TitanX is just about out. This is going to be pretty ballistic. So if you want to find out more details, get into the Strategy Club. Links in the video description on that. But that is kind of the play. This will look at TitanX Hub with all the projects that are built up. You can kind of think, so TitanX is on Ethereum. You can kind of think of it like acting as its own layer 1 on Ethereum. And of course, on top of that is built all these projects that have to use TitanX. And that's where TitanX just, after it does all the inflation, it starts to get disappears all over the place, right? Buy and burns, locked LP, all sorts of stuff like that. So we've got DragonX in there, Hyper, Helios, Inferno. Those are all launched. Inferno is still open to take TitanX in, and of course get rid of the supply that way. And big things happening there. DragonX, of course, is going to have it's going to have lots of projects built on DragonX itself. So third layer projects built on top. So you got first layer, second layer, third layer. It really is going to be crazy on that one. Hyper, of course, also looking very good right now for pickups. So lots of opportunities here. Lots of these project teams like DragonX, like Helios, Inferno are building other projects as well around those tokens. So you're getting third layers and you get more second layers on top of TitanX. Pretty crazy. Yeah, some of the meme coins, some of the NFTs have been going up massively in value. It's been pretty crazy. This thing is about to, you think it's good now, it's about to go absolutely unbelievable. Probably dominate the market cap on Ethereum. And yeah, it's going to be pretty insane. Now, we're obviously expecting all these other projects to launch. These are some big ones. We've got Shogun, Ouroboros. These are all big protocols that are coming. We've got a lot of protocols not even on here. So there's probably at least another 5 or 6 that are not on here. Titan Chips, Titan Farms. Now, Titan Farms is going to be on DragonX. That's going to be a bit further down the line. But that's going to be for LP incentives for DragonX. So it's going to be pretty big. Titan Guardians, Titan 5 is probably going to be another good ROI protocol. We've got Flux has just been listed on here. Element 280 just been listed on here. Vault is all part of these other projects up here with the Inferno and others. And then we've got Hydra. Hydra is going to be launching in September, Element 280s in October, and Hydra is going to be on top of Dragon X, and the Dragon X supply is already out. So, folks, Dragon X is just going to go moon, more moon. Now, for Hydra, you have to use Dragon X and TitanX, so it's going to be pretty crazy on the old hyped Hydra. That is launching, expected to launch next week. So that's pretty crazy. So lots of cool things happening here in the old TitanX. This thing is about to go ballistic. If you want to find out way more details, then get into our Discord and Strategy Club. $35 a month for that, good value with lots of high intel. So place to be. All right, that is that. Now, I wanted to quickly talk about Zen. We haven't really talked about Zen for a long time. Obviously, the Zen price chart's been going down with the inflation coming out. It's kind of similar to the inflation that we're experiencing in TitanX to some degree. And so it's really going just about the end of the inflation cycle for the main one. Now, there's still what they call Zen NFTs, their inflation in the future. But for the near term, September really is the big month for inflation. And then it's going to be fun to see that play out. Now, when does X1 chain launch? So whereas TitanX might be a bit of a hyper buy and burn second layer ecosystem, X1 is really all the latest technology into one blockchain. So it's got all the stuff there. It's going to have IGN layer, heaps of stuff, DEXs, you name it. It's going to have a lot of hardcore tech. I still think it's going to be having incentives built inside the blocks for project teams. So it's a way of embedding the money that teams need. You know, on Pulsechain we have sacrifices. Teams need money to build. Well, it looks like it's going to be probably building the blockchain rewards there. It's going to have lots of cool things. You know, lots of tokens, Xenium, super blocks, lots of things. Proof of work, proof of stake hybrid. It's really going to be crazy cool tech. All the best in it, right? I built, of course, a first fork as well of Solana. We know how well Solana's done. Well, you imagine X1 is going to be pretty crazy there from Jack Levin, of course. So that is kind of where we are at the moment. And of course, they had a cool, just updated this page. This is the block explorer for Zen block mining. Now you can, I've got a video on the chat here if you want to start Zen block mining. I would probably get into it ASAP because there's going to be a fork halvening of the block reward. It's going to go from 10 to 5 in September. So you probably want to get into that ASAP. But I think I've either got a link in the video description to get yourself a miner, but I've also got the Zen block mining videos on the channel, so you can go check those out for Zen block mining. It is the part of the proof of work there. Now, the alternative, of course, is you could wait till it launches and see what the market price is. Maybe you'll be able to buy it relatively cheaper then, but you just never know. At the moment, of course, the block reward is 10, where it's going to move down to 5 Xenium per block that you get. So just remember that. Now, you're not just mining Xenium, you also get uni blocks for the DEX, and you also get super blocks. Well, super blocks are pretty hard to get, but they're worth probably about $500 each. But you could randomly get a super block as well. So I think I can't remember exactly how often they are, but they're probably about 1 in every 700 blocks, somewhere like that. You get a super block. So the more miners that you have running, the more chance of winning super blocks, which are going to be some sort of multiplier benefit potentially for staking or something like that. So we shall see. Now with Xenium, of course, when you're mining that, you're going to be able to stake Xenium for XN, which is going to be the main coin for X1 blockchain. So it's a big deal. Obviously, not much happening at the moment. We don't know when that's coming. I suspect that Jack Levin is working on his legal status for X1, and also working the Silicon Valley, where he has a lot of connections to potentially do some sort of partial funding for the chain as well, in terms of boosting the attractiveness there. So nevertheless, people are going to be burning a Zen to get XN coin. They're going to be burning lots of other multi-chains, of course. I think was that 13, 14 chains now where they can burn Zen for that, either PZen on Pulsechain. And so that supply could really dwindle away pretty quickly as people want to get in on the action of the super chain X1. And of course, no doubt, maybe a reasonable chance that it might launch in the fourth quarter of this year. That'd be pretty good timing when the market's pumping there. So that's kind of a bit of a summary, but nice to see the new Explorer here for the leaderboard. And as you can see, it's ticking away there. Total blocks. It's got the mining block rate, the number of miners, 474 miners at the moment. The difficulty. So this is kind of like a pre-mine, right? It's a pre-mine before the X1 launches, and it's part of the token allocation for the X1. They're obviously burning Zen's another part of the allocation expected, and so we'll find out more news about that soon, I guess, as well. You can see people at the top person here, blocks, and the super blocks there. One thing I will say about this, early on, it was much easier to get blocks. Now it's a lot harder. So there are quite a large holders. So we'll see what happens to the price, but we may end up seeing some pretty good value here on the back of X1. It's going to be fun to see that. More of that, of course, you can find out in our strategy club. So check it out. All right, how we do? An hour and 10 minutes. I said we're going to have a pretty full show, and we've covered some pretty cool stuff. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's very vast content on crypto, both what's happening now with the pullback and also potentially what will happen October onwards is my guess, and of course with the Bitcoin halving year as well. All right, I think that's it. We're pretty quiet chat there. Everyone went quiet. Don't know what's going on there, but hope you guys enjoy yourself. What else we got there? Yeah, we also talk about Pulse Predict of Jacob's X system. Now, yesterday I covered PUSD Algo. If you want to get a 90% referral bonus in that, the link's in the video description for that. That's going to be probably a medium-term hold until we get news around when it's potentially going to launch or whatever happens in that space. Obviously, they're going to hit $1 million in the sacrifice, but yeah, that's still in play as well. I definitely hope that Jacob looks to launch that in the bull market, because that's when all the people are around, right? That's when all the money's there as well. So yeah, that's going to be pretty good. People have a place to put their stable coins, and it earns a lot of stuff on the platform. So check that out as well. I've done a couple of videos with Jacob from a little while back, and you can check that out on this channel as well, Hex Token channel. I think it's maybe on Superman Crypto. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will catch you again tomorrow. We're going to cover NVIDIA data out. That's going to be so key for the momentum of the markets. So yeah, that's tomorrow. Just catch me again then. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave your comments, and I will catch you on the other side. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and join up the strategy club or just the Pulsechain Discord. It links in the video description. All right, let's find a cool video to play out, and maybe we'll do the Magic Cup ride video. This seems right, doesn't it? This seems right. Where we go. All right, peace out, everybody. Take care. Enjoy your day. Bye for now.
In theory, if someone were a billionaire and they had like all this money, why wouldn't they just buy more of the thing they liked instead of dumping the thing they liked? Like if Bezos bought shares in Amazon, would you be pissed off? If Apple does a stock buyback and they buy more of their own shares in their company back from the public, which is a way to turn earnings into yield for the shareholders, do you get mad and yell at Apple? And so we had to come up with a word for this fan fiction fantasy, which is the opposite of a rug pull, called a magic carpet ride. And so if you're worried about risk of a rug pull, what weighted value have you given the risk of a magic carpet ride? And it's just hilarious to me.